Hello, welcome to English Today. Brilliant, thanks for joining us. We're going to look at wordplay today, and so our learning objective is to explore wordplay. Now, we looked at how we can play with words and the different meanings that phrases can have yesterday when we examined idioms. Today, we're going to continue to look at wordplay and how they're used to express, how words are used to express different meanings. Right, first of all, similarly to yesterday, here's a short passage which has got all of its punctuation missing. However, when you rewrite it, I've given you some top tips, some hints. I would like you to use a mixture of capitals, full stops, comma, speech marks, semicolon, colon, question mark, and exclamation mark. There's something else that you might use, which is an apostrophe. So pause the video at this stage and try to fix my passage. Brilliant, here we go. Here's a fixed version. How'd you do? I'm sure you did brilliantly. Capital letters are used for each new sentence. They're used for every proper noun, Monday, Dad. They're used for all the first person singular, I. And then finally, they're used for PE. The reason they're used for PE is because PE stands for something. It stands for physical education. When we do that to a word, when we reduce a phrase or a noun to just the initials, that's called an acronym. PE is physical education, PD, personal development, NASA, ASDA. There are loads of acronyms around when you start to look for them. Colon is used for the list with semicolons between the features of the list, the items of the list. Then in speech, you can see the comma before the speech. Then a new sentence is shown by a capital letter within speech. Dad is an exclamation, so it's followed by an exclamation mark, and you can see the question mark at the end of the final question. Notice did not is punctuated with an apostrophe for didn't. Here we go. Right, we looked at idioms, didn't we, yesterday? I wonder, I'm going to give you a moment. Can you identify them? Pause the video now. Here we are, raining cats and dogs. In the first one. Secondly, that lady is window shopping. And finally, careful, she's playing with fire. They don't literally, you wouldn't literally play with a fire like that, would you? Now, wordplay comes up in all sorts of parts of life. Now, sometimes we say something in a way which is not meant to be taken literally. So here are some proverbs, for example. The early bird catches the worm. Look before you leap. The grass is always greener on the other side, and it never rains, but it pours. Now, I'd like you to pause the video now and try to decide what those proverbs mean. Welcome back. How did you do? The early bird catches the worm. Now, what that means is if you get up early, you can usually make more of a success of something. The early bird catches the worm. You're more likely to succeed if you start early, start well. Look before you leap. Well, that means take an assessment of the risks ahead of you. Check what you're doing before you get stuck in. The grass is always greener on the other side. Now that, imagine looking at being a farmer, looking across the stream and thinking, I need to graze my flock on the other side of the river because the grass looks greener on the other side. We often look at somebody else's life and think that it's better than our own, don't we? That is to think that the grass is greener on the other side. Finally, it never rains, but it pours. Now, that is quite a negative phrase, meaning when things are bad, they're really bad. We're going to look at another aspect of wordplay today. We're going to look at something called dingbats. You might be familiar with dingbats. And we've been playing some challenges like these at lunchtimes in the classroom. This is dingbats. My computer's going to work. There we go. In a dingbat, you've got a picture or an arrangement of letters which represents the phrase. There are 6 on the screen there. I'm going to explain the first two to you from the top left, then you can have a go. For example, in the first screen, you can see that there is the chicken for winter and for summer and for autumn, but there is no spring chicken. That phrase is no spring chicken, meaning someone is not as lively as they used to be. Sorry, let's go back to those. The one in the middle at the top says a dark, there's bullet holes in the A. Now that means a shot in the dark. A shot in the dark means you've had a go at something without any real hope. You've just had a random go at it. There are 4 more there. Can you pause the video now and try to work out what those next 4 dingbats are? Pause the video now. Welcome back. How'd you do? Did you get tongue-tied? Tongue-tied, meaning you can't get your words out, your tongue's in a knot. Then, bottom left, 40 winks. Getting some sleep, 40 winks. I love how simple the one bottom middle is. It's seaside. The sea is on its side. And finally, the bottom right is, of course, Jack in the box. Jack in the box. So, today, on Google Classroom, you'll find a dingbat challenge. And your dingbat challenge has got a selection of dingbats, which I'd like you to try to come up with the original phrases for. So identify the famous phrases or the meaning from the dingbat clues on Google Classroom. And then as an extension, then you try to make your own dingbats of famous phrases. Why not post them onto Google Classroom along with your answers for the other dingbats? And we may even have so many that we'll be able to share the best for everyone to try to solve. Thank you very much. Do remember to attach your work when you hand it in later. And thank you so much for joining us today.